right. So welcome everybody, and welcome everybody over there, out there in the world, in this lovely place here called Zanzibar, and nobody wants to leave. Trust me, nobody wants to leave once you've been here. So that's a big compliment to the country and to this island. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the mobile market in Africa, the key challenges and the opportunities we see in the African mobile market. So welcome to here. Also, warm welcome to the audience. So thank you very much for joining us. And as said, better to be here than at the seaside. So thank you so much, guys, for staying and sticking with us. As always, I cannot do this alone. I don't want to do this alone. I need the senior experts in the market from all around the world here, and I'm more than happy to give them a quick minute to introduce themselves. And if I may start with the lovely Kadambara, please take the microphone and please introduce yourself and say something about your company, please.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Are you sure you want me to use the mic? I have a very big voice. Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. So thank you so much, Eric. Lovely to meet you today and the rest of the panelists. This is such an honor. My name is Kadambara. I am from Tigo, Tigo Business specifically, but from Tigo, I'm pretty sure you've heard of us. We've recently merged with Zantel locally, and then we've also been bought by Axion. So that's who I am. I head wholesale for Tigo. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to Chandar.
Thank you, Eric, and it's wonderful to meet so many industry experts. My name is Chandrahas Rana. I head the business development for Bankai Group. When it comes to Bankai Group, we are a 30 years old company, and we are one of the global player when it comes to international voice A2P messaging and UCaaS platform. Then through our technology subsidiary, we've been one of the industry leader when it comes to revenue assurance, fraud management, and mobile money solutions across globe. And we are proud to be a company with people from more than 20 nationalities, been expanding across globe. And just to let you know, we were among the first company that deployed a mobile wallet in Africa and Tanzania like more than a decade back. So thanks a lot. It would be my pleasure to speak in this forum. Africa is very close to my heart.
Thank you so much, Chandra, and welcome again. So Alex.
Yeah, my name is Alex Vavilov. I'm market manager at Lang Telecom. So our company's in the market for more than 20 years already. Core business is international voice messaging, but then there are a lot of other services that we do. I'm personally in charge of the African part. I'm passionate about Africa, and this June at GCCM Berlin, we won the regional award for Africa. So it's an honor for me.
I was there.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, happy to be part of this panel. Curious to see the new trends, discuss the new opportunities. Thank you. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. Eva.
Hello, my name is Eva. I came from Poland to you from a company called Anexo. I had the business development there. And what we do at Anexo is we help companies to sell more efficiently. We deal with telecom operators, with wholesalers, with FTTH companies to improve their operations. And we've been on the market for 10 years. Speaking of awards, we got an award for the best culture in the company. So I'm very proud to be a part of it. And thank you to all the panelists. I'm glad to be in such an international space and to share some views today with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you and welcome. Bernd?
Yes, thank you to be here. It's an honor to be here. My past is a little bit different. I'm coming from a small systems integrator, a medium-sized company in Germany. Before, I was 13 years going with the Formula One and bigger sports companies around the world. So trying to get the right connectivity for them. And then there came a miracle, which is called SD-WAN. Now we are providing an SD-WAN solution based on VMware Velo Cloud around the world. The specialty there is that we do a whole package, starting for sure with the consulting, then going to sell it, and preparing a whole package that everywhere around the world, wherever you are, you could have this package and only have to plug in your LAN and you are ready. So there is a real big honor for me to be here, because now I have really customers here for the African market, one of the world market leaders in doing flavors. Yeah, they told me about Madagascar, and here on the tour on the spice farm, they told me also there's good vanilla coming from Madagascar. And what I'm looking for is
The best, by the way.
yeah, I heard so, but for my opinion, also the Zanzibar vanilla is fantastic. Yeah, like everything here. And what I would like to do is to get in contact with you to get your details whenever I have a request in your country. I would like to do the business with you. And perhaps I could also bring a little bit value to the discussion here, because we are doing a lot with mobile services in the SD-WAN area. Yeah, and perhaps it's interesting for you. Yeah, so I'm really proud to be here. Looking forward what's going on.
Okay, thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the mobile market in Africa and the opportunities we see and the trends we see, and but also the challenges we're facing actually. And Chandra, if I may start with you, I mean, you also have teams in and around Africa as we know, as a global player. So, how, from your point of view as a global big player, how do you see Africa? What are the trends and what are the opportunities that you see in the African market, and then especially in the African mobile market?
Yeah, thank you, Eric. See, when it comes to mobile money and digital money, what I feel is Africa is 10 years ahead when it comes to penetration than most of the Western markets. Like you talk about mobile money market today, last year, out of the 1 trillion transaction that has happened through mobile money, 70% has happened in Africa. When you talk about the total number of mobile wallets globally, those are around 600 million. Within Africa, you have more than 50% out of that. When it comes to transactions, out of more than 30 billion transactions, 70% happened in Africa. But if you see the nature of transactions, it's more over P2P, cash in and cash out. Traditionally, still in Africa, barring more than some part of North Africa or some countries like in Nigeria or Kenya or in Ethiopia or in Tanzania, the 4G penetration is very low. So most of the transactions are happening through USSD. So what I feel is when it comes to penetration, people know about this. 70% of mobile subscribers already have their already have their mobile wallet, or one of their family member has a mobile wallet. So when it comes to awareness, they already know it. When it comes to adaptability, they already know it. But when it comes to size and scale, because there are two aspects of mobile money. One is financial inclusion. One is digital inclusion. Digital inclusion will happen when you will have 4G, 5G networks, and 50 to 60% of your population would be using 4G and 5G networks and using digital money, not only for cash in, cash out or P2P transactions, but for merchant payments, but for bulk payments, for enterprise payments. Then Web3 will come into picture, like blockchain or NFTs will come into picture. That's of course 10 to 20 years pathway for most of the markets in Africa. Then that would be the trend. So overall, as per me, Africa is in the right footing, penetration wise, adaptability wise. This is the continent where companies has to be there. Only thing is, if they take the right steps when it comes to 5G and digitalization side, Africa will keep on leading the world when it comes to mobile money and digital inclusion. Yeah.
No, thank you, Chandra. And one of the big things is that the service are ready. I mean, the African people, they are ready. And going a step back for what you mentioned about the mobile wallet. I mean, to connect the unconnected. And I'm not talking only about the countries, because the majority of the countries in Africa, they are on the seaside, but they're also landlocked countries. Right. And to make sure that with the introduction of the mobile wallet years ago, and making sure this goes faster and faster and faster, and by the end of the day, hopefully we'll keep the content on the African continent. That would be fantastic, and not going up and down. So that would be fantastic, and would make Africa far stronger than it is today. But to connect the unconnected, I think giving people a bank account which never had access to physically to a bank, or to insurances, or to pay their electricity bill. those things are so key. So yes, the developments are good, but the other side of the medal is we need in Africa investments. We need investments, and especially when we talk about from the mobile wallet, we move a little bit to the fintech. And Kalambara, maybe you can jump in here. I think on the fintech is also, let's say, out of, let's say, first step the mobile wallet, and now moving more and more into the fintech is also a trend which we see. What is your view on this one? What do you see?
Yes, absolutely. You see, for Africa, I think the biggest invention in maybe the whole world has been mobile money. As Chandra, your name again? Yeah, Chandra's. Okay, as Chandra has very clearly stated. I think this has really empowered and enabled Africa. And fintech, and obviously telco providers such as Tigo, we were able to take it far. But fintech companies, when they come in, they really provide a lot of services to the unbanked. You spoke about the unbanked, Eric. For Africa, and I don't know what the exact statistics are for Africa because I wasn't able to find them, but I'll give you an example specifically for Tanzania because I mean, we are in this beautiful place, Zanzibar. The unbanked for Tanzania, I would say it's probably over 90%. This is how critical this is. The unbanked traditional banking, I would say it's literally over 90%. So without fintech and without financial services, when you talk about financial inclusion, we would really have a very big chunk of our population completely ostracized, completely not being able to do very simple financial services. You spoke about paying for electricity, but it goes as deep as small and medium enterprises run third countries. They really do. Majority of small and medium enterprises within Africa are truly small. Most of them cannot afford the traditional, for example, loans that are provided by big banks, right? Because banking is still not very advanced for Africa. So, companies that come in, fintech companies, for example, Branch, that provide small loans, very, very flexible products for small and medium enterprise are really empowering Africans and are really empowering the small and medium enterprise in Africa, which are the drivers for growth for Africa, to really grow and enhance efficiencies within their companies and to have access to funds that they never would have if we were just to focus on traditional means of banking. So I think fintech has really, really helped empower small and medium enterprises who are the drivers of growth for Africa.
Okay, thank you. Eva, what is your view on the market? Well, what kind of opportunities, trends, but maybe also challenges do you see?
Well, I think we spoke a little bit about the opportunities. I think the African market, as you said, is requiring a lot of investment. And what we're seeing, as working with telecoms, I am really excited about the 5G investments that are happening. And I do think I'm on the fence of this because on the other hand, we're talking about countries like Nigeria, for example, where 4G adoption is around at 4% of all people instead of 40% using 3G. But then what we could see, and we've seen Africa done it before, is the leapfrogging effect, I know. And I do see 5G as potentially an incredible opportunity for mining, for ports, looking at the world, for example, a port in Rotterdam. By using IoT devices for vessel berthing, they were able to save 2.5 million euro every year. And imagine making IoT possible, bringing in 5G, this could happen, making more efficient mining, more efficient manufacturing in Africa, which could potentially bring incredible return of investment. So 5G, I'm a little bit on the fence, but I do see it as an incredible potential for Africa, for MNOs coming in here, if they monetize it right. Because bringing it down to monetizing 5G, I think what we see from the European perspective now, it's a little bit of a struggle because, well, 5G is sexy. 5G could bring, I mean, everyone's all about IoT and what it could bring, but coming down to mobile network operators, to ISPs, they have to think of a way of how to monetize these services, how to prepare their systems inside to being able to handle these millions of SIM cards that they have to bill for, that they have to have online charging for. And so 5G, an incredible opportunity, if done right, could bring Africa way ahead of what's happening in Europe, I'd say.
Okay, thank you. 5G and MNOs. We're coming back on the on this one. Alex, what's your view on Africa? Where do you see the
Yeah, well, I mean,
possibilities?
all the opportunities, definitely some of the fastest growing cities and countries in the world are in Africa, right? So the market is increasing, so the opportunities are definitely there. FinTech was mentioned today, and international voice and SMS. I think cybersecurity is crucial here. And later on, maybe I can, from the voice, international voice perspective, I can mention a few cases of how what we see, right? What are the challenges? And also, speaking about 5G, I think that definitely new ways of communicating with the customers will arise, right? But at the same time, traditional voice messaging will be there. That's what I'm sure. Because when I joined Lang many years back, people were saying that voice is dying, but it's still there.
I heard that 20 years ago
And
already.
exactly. And some exactly.
I still need to
exactly,
talk to my mom.
exactly.
Mommy, how are you? You know?
Right. And some of the new streams are, I mean, definitely during the pandemic, like MNOs were mostly affected with the roaming, right? But some of the new streams are happening. And just let's think about what will happen if here in Tanzania, the Dubai approach with WhatsApp will happen, right? How many more minutes international, right? I mean, that's just just thoughts, right? So, or what will happen if like origin-based routing will be introduced to India? I mean, it will revive the market, the voice market, and African market as well, right? So I think there are many legal aspects and many of opportunities that will happen, and we don't know what will happen. But with 5G coming, I'm sure that voice and messaging will still be there.
Thank you, Alex. And last but not least, Bernd, what's your view on the African market? Where do you see the opportunities, and what trends do you see?
Yeah, I'm a little bit wondering here because I would say I'm not so fast as you. You're talking about the special applications at the moment. Yeah, so for my opinion, it's real important to talk about the infrastructure first. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm coming from Germany and I'm mostly serving German or Switzerland or Austrian-based companies, also Netherlands, but mostly European companies. Yeah, and one of my newest companies and customers is doing flavors. So, for example, I talked about Madagascar. So they are doing the vanilla, taking it directly from the farms in Madagascar, doing the logistics, doing also the trading from there. Yeah, and they told me they had a frame contract all around the world with more than 300 locations. Yeah, and now they have locations here in Africa, for example, there. And that's the reason why I'm here. Yeah, Vida, thank you very much for the invitation. I never ever talked about it because a lot of these companies were not talking about Africa as they thought the infrastructure is missing. Most of the companies need the infrastructure now. They need a connectivity to do their own business. Yeah, even to implementate the plans there and all these things. And on top of this, I think they have the employees and they could talk about these things. First thing is, I had the challenge to go to Madagascar and have 5 locations and to do a redundancy connectivity there and give them an SLA that they have the connectivity for everything there. Yeah. So for the procurement, for the trading, for the employees and so on. Yeah. And what we are doing is we are using the mobile services for that. Yeah, and yeah, it was possible to do that. It took a lot of work to see how it works, and then we talked to the local providers, yeah, to have 2 of the locations in a redundant way in a connectivity. Yeah, and I think that's what we should see here, what we should focus, do all the infrastructure with the 5G, and I think 5G is the right medium. We do so fantastic things with 5G, and the European companies have to rethink, because mostly they said, I'm working with a fiber. If I have no fiber, I do not go there. I do not take this location. You could do that with 5G. Yeah, it's fantastic. 6G in Korea now is going on. Yeah, and you're completely on the right way. Yeah, let's do it. And we could do everything with that. And I'm really happy to talk with my customers about going to Africa, going also with your applications, with your services here. Yeah, that's the way to open the countries, to bring business here, and also to bring the money in, to bring the world in, and get the contact here. Yeah, so it's quite important.
Thank you. I think that the word which was most dropped here is 5G, right? So, Kanabara, what about 5G? What is the focus of the MNO? What can you share with us?
Okay, so I'll personalize this, right, for Tigo, because I
Please do. Please do. Yeah.
Yes. So I think for telcos, 5G is very important for us. You know, as much as it will take time, I think, for the rest of Africa to catch up with 5G, and you've spoken about 6G in Korea, we are not there yet. But 5G is very important for Africa, specifically for us, Tanzania. I think one of the biggest challenges that 5G addresses is the number of devices, right? Almost limitless. I think maybe you can correct me. Almost limitless number of devices that can be connected on 5G. But over and above that, 5G allows for limited, if not like no latency. So it allows for real-time information, to almost real-time information to be transferred, and for really, really huge capacities. So if I can give a very, very specific example for Africa and for Tanzania, one of the biggest challenges in Tanzania is in the medical industry. We are, I mean, let's face it, we are a bit poor in the medical industry. We lack a lot of the infrastructure that would need, a lot of the technology that would need to really perform very complicated operations. Chandaras, where he's from, they are very advanced, right? India is very advanced in that field. So what 5G can actually allow, because 5G transmits information really, really fast, is for a doctor, very experienced, who is in India, and for a doctor who is in Tanzania, it's our biggest hospital in Muhimbili, to actually conduct real-time operations, right? A real-time operation and save lives, simply because you are on a network that's very reliable and very fast, and information is almost, because there's no latency, information is almost transfer real time. And that, I think, is one of the biggest impacts of 5G. So we cannot say that even though, you know, it will take us time as Africa to get there, we actually have to move and invest. And that's why for us, Tigo, we are already working on it. It's because 5G will really transform not just businesses or enhance efficiency, but also it will really help Africa and Africa's medical industry to evolve, so that we can save more and more lives and avoid a lot of the negligence related issues in the medical industry, specifically for, I think, Africa generally and Tanzania.
Okay, thank you, Chandra. I want to immediately move to you, because Kanabara was nice to mention you and Bankai, of course, and I also know that you do enormous investments, enormous partnerships in Africa. But what can you share with us? Well, what is your view, let's say, on the 5G, and also to make sure that things can be enabled actually for operators and for MNOs?
Right. See, you call it 4G, you call it 5G, you call it 6G. It's all about user experience. When it comes to Africa, the total population of Africa is somewhere around 1.3 billion. So Africa and India, when it comes to size scale, is more over same. 2016, 2015, if you talk about India, the number of bank people with the formal banking percentage of the population was only 20%. 2016, Reliance Jio, a mobile operator, launched their 4G services. Due to that, within 5 years today, if you talk about the number of population, percentage of population that being banked has increased to 70%. We need to make a difference between mobile money and digital money. Mobile money is kind of being dominated or driven by mobile operators like Tigo. When it comes to digital money or digital financial inclusion, it would be more driven by private players. So when it comes to India, like today, digital transactions, we do more than trillion transaction a year.
Can you repeat that number again?
Trillion, more than trillion transaction a year.
That's
And when
not-
it comes to number last month, the volume of transaction a month in India was 26 billion. So what I feel is Africa needs to kind of model India when it comes to digital payments. In globally, if you see the 40% of digital payments right now happening in India. Number 2 is China. That's only 11%. So Africa needs to model India when it comes to digital payments or all that. They need to have that digital ecosystem driven by government. Like we got our national payment switch, UPI, we call it 5 years back, through which with single identity that would be linked to your bank account or wallet, you can make payment anywhere. You can go like from Delhi, like 500 kilometers from Delhi, a street hawker, a tea hawker, you can go and you can pay 10 rupees by your mobile wallet. Your mobile acts as your bank. So what I feel is, apart from 4G, 5G or all that, we need to create that digital ecosystem, and that should be driven by government, because at the end of day, when it comes to developing markets like Africa and India, the control when it comes to financial markets is with governments. Second, what I feel is enabling 5G will not drive the mobile money or financial inclusion market anywhere in the world. The most important thing is affordability. India has the cheapest data services in the world today. If you see today, Africa already has 4G or 3G in 70% of the countries. Like I was in a country in Togo last month. I was speaking with them, how many subscriber has RPU more than $10? 4%. Average RPU is $2 to $3. When 95% of your population has per capita income less than $1,000, I'm talking about 80% of Africa, then affordability is the key when it comes to 4G, 5G, 6G, or 100G. So what I feel is it has to be operators like Zentel needs to take, they need to think beyond short-term profits. They need to think beyond next 5 years or 7 years. They need to think about 2030, 2035. Okay. Then when 50% of your people, 50% of your population will have data connection 4G, and they will have affordability like that, that will not make a deep hole in their pockets. They will start using digital money actively. So what I feel, 4G, 5G is very important, but most important is affordability, because 5G is not going to be cheap. An operator that going to roll out 5G services, if you talk about an operator with somewhere around 10 million subscribers, they need to shell out somewhere around more than 100 million US dollar. So that proposition would be operators, how they want to plan their budgets. But if 4G or 5G is not affordable, trust me, again, the situation would be same. 5-7% people will use digital money or all that. Rest of African population, it would be cash in, cash out. Somebody in Darul Salam will send some $50 to farmer. He will cash out, cash in, somebody cash out, that's it. But we need to, Africa needs to think beyond cash in, cash out and the P2P transfer. They need to get into the real game. That is like you pay everything through your mobile phone. You pay your mobile bill through mobile phone. You pay tea wala through your mobile phone. You pay vegetable hawker through your mobile phone. You pay your government through your mobile phone. That way, and that's where India has taken strides a lot, and that's a case study for Africa.
But again, and thank you, Chandra. But again, I mean, the investments. I never found the tree outside which has the money, right? Because investments is an issue. It is an issue, and it remains an issue unless people finally see the opportunity which lies in this continent to invest massively, because that's the only way things can come. Chandra?
Yeah, I want to add on when it comes to investment. See, average age of Africa is somewhere around 34 or 33 years old. The even lesser than that. Let us make it 30 years. India is 34 years. So I'm taking that benchmark. So it's around 30 years. And one of the fastest growing cities in the world, be it population wise or be it other amenity wise, it's in Africa. When the average age, or like when you talk about fertility rates, or when you talk about Europe, it's already stabilized, or somewhere or other, I should say saturated, where the world will get the growth. Like the average growth rates of the world today, not this year, this is a different year, average is somewhere around 2 to 3%. It's only Africa, Southeast Asia that can grow at 6 to 7%. So investor also needs to take a call that they want to put their money in some England, Denmark, Germany, Poland, where their funds will grow at 2%, 3%. Yes, they are safe. Or they can put their money in Africa, or in a country like India, or so a country like Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, where if they invest $100, that can be $300 in 3 years. So it's like, I won't say high risk, because when population is growing, at the end of the day, when population is growing, they would be needing houses, they would be needing schools, they would be needing hospitals, they would be needing roads, they would be needing everything. So I would say it's very safe investment when it comes to Africa and Southeast Asia. And it's world needs to think beyond Western world, and they need to think beyond some, countries, blue-eyed countries like China, India, Indonesia. There are spaces in Africa as well. Like India got FDI last year more than 80 billion US dollar. China gets every year 150, 170 billion US dollar. Whole Africa don't get more than 30 billion US dollar. So somewhere investor global community also needs to think beyond that, these small pockets, then it will grow. What I feel.
Therefore, it's important to keep on talking about it and to share with people our ideas and see, hey guys, wake up, it's needed, it's absolutely needed. Alex, anything to say about the 5Gs, a bit more to elaborate on this one, because there are also threats on the other side, right?
Well, 5G is not really what Lang Telecom is doing, but fintech and enterprise were mentioned now, and just one of the fraud cases that we see that is evolving, and Lang Telecom has its own in-house anti-fraud system. I think it's really, really great. We call it Vangiri 2.0. So everyone knows about Vangiri, right? The premium number ranges, you get the missed call, and the person is calling back, they're losing either the person or the mobile operator, but anyway, it's lost, right? With Vangiri 2.0, as we say, it's like fraudsters are leaving their premium number ranges in the, for example, in the banks or in the applications, and then the businesses are calling back. And the tricky thing is that they have their own KPIs. They want to reach the customers, right? And in the short run, the operators are winning because they're getting more volumes. But in the mid run, something has to be done here, right? And this Vangiri 2.0 is just one of the examples that's happening. So I'm sure that cybersecurity is definitely a big thing. And then I also see a big potential. I understand there are many challenges for that in the intergovernment cooperation, right? So one network area in Eastern Africa is working, right? The ONA, non-ONA. And I know there are ideas in ECOWAS in the Western Africa, in SADC in the South African, is it SADC? South African Development Community, right? And yeah, so I think that can definitely boost the economy in the region, right? Between the countries. So I think that's also something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eva, anything to?
I wanted to say that we would say the issues with 5G, definitely the affordability, but coming into the investments, I think a large portion of the investments not coming in is due to regulations, the spectrum clarities, right? Some work that needs to be done here in the local countries that will make sure that when the investors come and that the frequencies can be divided very well. So So bringing in 5G investments, that could also mean a lot of partnerships between big companies, not only MNOs, but the Googles of the world, or the MTNs partnering up with Oranges, and, you know, kind of thinking in a broader perspective.
Say again.
What you mentioned. It's
you know what I'm saying, right?
exactly. It's just important to think out of the box here, and bringing in investments. This will require some different solutions, and not necessarily looking at specific players in the market, but thinking, what is the end goal? Connecting the entire society and making these services affordable. And no one will be able to do it by themselves. So if we're thinking about ecosystems, partnerships, this is what needs to be done. And the players need to think, again, as you mentioned, 30, 40 years ahead, instead of making a profit in a year or two, because this is a long game. But it could bring in, bring in potential big money, and
Okay.
not only money.
Okay. Thank you. Dropping the bomb. Partnerships. MTN and Orange. Oh, did you hear that? Anyway, it will be fun. No, whatever. No. But a very good point, because I think from a strategy point of view, let alone we know what needs to be done, that it costs a lot of money. We know. But on the strategy side, how are we going to do this? Because you can only spend the dollar or the whatever currency you have once, right? So partnership is, I think, a key element in doing this. Bernd, what would be your suggestion? I mean, to except from Orange, and because that deal is done already. You know, how would you think that a partnership should come in? How important would it be?
Yeah, I could mention, I would say, okay, Deutsche Telekom should also be part of it. No, joker, sorry. So for my opinion, out of the investor's view, yeah, so I'm not so clear with your strategy here. So will we have a hen or an egg? Yeah, so you could go there and say, okay, I'm bringing this service to as much people as possible. Yeah. So, and then I have a revenue which is quite limited, as you said. Yeah. So from the investor's part of view, I would say I would prefer another way. So to say, okay, like for example in Nigeria, yeah, where some investors stepped in, brought the industry, brought the money there, brought the infrastructure. And then when the industry is there and also the work and the money is there, then the people will also have more money to spend. So for my opinion, that will bring the investment quicker back. Yeah, so what I would see is let's have a focus on that. Yeah, so as I know, some of my customers are looking for new locations where they could have their production plans, and we always discuss this. Is it possible to have a good connectivity there? Because the connectivity is anywhere my life. Yeah, if I'm not connected, it won't work. The cybersecurity is a real important fact. There are such a lot of companies are descripted at the moment here, and so they have to spend bitcoins to get their data back. Yeah, so you have to go there. But my strategy would be another one. Yeah, so to have the partnerships. Yeah, so with the color and the other company, and then go there and look, hey, what's good here in Tanzania? So in Nigeria, it was quite easy with the oil. Yeah, so we have the oil industry. The oil industry was coming, giving the people that, and so the investment is coming back. So for my opinion, we should discuss about the strengths of the countries, yeah, and going, yeah, so right or left. On the other side, you're quite right, yeah, so you have such a lot of people. Even if there's only a small revenue, it will be a big revenue if we add it. Yeah. So, but I'm not sure of this. So to be discussed.
Okay, thank you. Ganamara, you mentioned it before, Tigo and Zantel. We will quickly tipping on, let's say that investments are needed. We just mentioned that partnerships as part of the strategy might be important. Can you share with us a little bit and tell us a little bit about the Tigo and Zantel?
Okay, so thanks, Eric. We have spent a lot of time, obviously, talking about investment and investing in Africa. and the limitations that come with accessing capital, especially for Africa. But one of the ways to simplify this is obviously through a merger, which is the approach that Tigo decided to take. So as you are aware, we've recently merged with Zantel. It took us a while, but we've merged. It's been successful. What that has truly meant for us and meant for Tanzania is we now have access to a lot more capacity. We now have access to a lot more, because Tanzania is huge. Tanzania is massive. And we can now cover a lot more of Tanzania. We can reach a lot more people, because when you talk about remote Tanzania, you have really, really remote areas in Tanzania where you still have to provide, I know we're talking about 4G, but you still have to provide 2G and 3G, which is what Eva mentioned. So our merger with Zantel has really enabled us to expand our coverage, our capacity, and obviously our capability in providing technology, especially to very remote areas. But what it has also afforded us is Zanzibar. Zanzibar is very key, right? Now with the hub coming, technological hub for Tanzania coming into Zanzibar, Zantel has the strongest network, if not maybe the only network, but it has the strongest network in Zanzibar, Zantel. And our merger with Tigo's merger with Zantel has now allowed us to have the best network in Zanzibar and to further expand our coverage across Tanzania and to reach the people who need it in especially remote areas.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, that we have. What can a regulator do? Governmental, I mean, put money on the table is one, working together is two. Having the ideas was already -1, but we need also some help, I guess, right? So how do you see, and maybe Chandra, you can kick it off. What do you face? What could we improve? And not so much the challenge, but how could we improve? Let's say the positive side, glasses half full with me. So how can we improve and maybe to educate as well a little bit the governmental bodies like the regulator to help us to enhance the customer experience in this beautiful continent?
You see, what I feel is when it comes to bigger bodies, like it's only Africa where 4 operators covers more than 65% subscribers. Orange of the world, Tigo, then Move, then Airtel, or all that. So when it comes to bigger guys, those are already here. So what I feel is it has to be public-private partnership, or government and private sector needs to work hand in hand. And what can be done is, this is again from our experience from India. When it comes to digital money and mobile money, national identity is very important, because the base of to prevent any fraud is the identity. So what I feel is government needs to take initiatives, like where they need to kind of streamline the national identity. They need to do the eKYC properly. And it will help on 2 sides. One side, on mobile money identity side, it will help the private players. Second, when it comes to what I feel is why investor don't invest in Africa. The biggest reason is political instability. Even till today, if you see 10 countries in different part of Africa, they have their different problems. 10 days back, it was some countries in West Africa. I won't name that country. Then there is a neighbor over here, and then military and all that. What I feel is there has to be political stability. Political masters need to take a call now that this century is African century along with Asian century. And they need to work closely with private players. Specific to regulations, of course, identity is very important. Then they need to kind of go soft on taxation as well, because mobile money is again telco driven, and that gives somewhere around 20 to 30% revenues to telco, and some 2 to 3% tax collection to operators. When it comes to digital money, if they will make it free, from where they will get that money back? So they need to be again think like private players, that how they need to plan their finances. But again, what I feel is, as answering to his question, Africa is economy of scale. It's like India. Like 2016, only 8% of population of India was using data services. When they made it affordable, today it's 84%. RPU at that time was was somewhere around $3.50. It still is somewhere around $4. But see the revenues of the operators. Just to give you some numbers, Airtel revenue a year, like in 2015, was not more than 8 or 9 billion US dollar. Today, Airtel last year clocked more than 18 billion US dollar in the same country, and the purchasing power has not increased like anything, like where it has tripled or 4 times. So what I feel is Africa is economy of scale. Government and private players need to join hands. They need to be more flexible. They need to incentivize digital initiatives, be it at local level, be it at private level, be it at general level. Trust me, 3-5 years of that kind of initiatives. Within 5 years, again, 2027, we sit here, we will see 50% of transactions in Africa, if 70% of population is using 4G, will happen through digital wallets. That has happened in India. As vast country, it's a subcontinent. Moreover, same purchasing power, moreover, same ecosystem, moreover, same bottlenecks, moreover, same everything. So Africa can be a case study for futuristic initiatives as well. This is my take on that.
And 2027, let's make sure we do it here at the GCCM in Zanzibar, right, guys? Huh? That's what we should do. All right, let me quickly go to the audience. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything on your mind you want to share? They're touchable. Huh? You can ask them questions if you want to.
But
Yep.
only here we're touching.
Only there. Only there. Any questions from you guys? Huh? Okay. Now, you see, I'm having this list here because we prepared some questions and whatsoever. So I'm going to put them sort of down. I'll not read them anymore because what I would like to ask you is how each of your companies can contribute to not only the mobile market, but to the complete African market. What can each of you do? And maybe if I may start with you, what can Anexo bring to the continent, to improve the situation we're currently in? What can you do? I know it's not prepared, but I throw a curveball now to everybody here. What can Anexo enable to bring to?
We talked a lot about 5G today. We talked about customer experience in the end. What Anexo can bring to the table is to make sure that mobile carriers have a good strategy of monetizing 5G services, that they are able to handle the sales, that they are able to handle all the multiple use cases that come around with IoT, that they are ready from their systems to be selling, to be billing correctly, to be upselling, and to be handling all these devices, right? So this is what we can bring to the table to help the carriers make sure that if they've made the investments and they're looking for use cases, that they monetize it, so that the ROI is coming back to the companies.
Cool. Bernd, what will you bring to the table?
Oh, sorry.
What are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, so
The table is big, eh? So
these are quite big shoes. Yeah. So from my opinion, we could go into the market, into the European market, and I think also the German market is a real big export market, and we could go there and take the good feeling there to say, okay, Shanda is quite right. So the political background is the importance there, but on the other side, we could say, okay, we can't influence anywhere the politics, but on the other side, we could guarantee that we bring the right partners from the African side to have the connectivity there and to build up a real reliable network that wherever you want to go. Yeah, so if you want to go outside of Africa or anybody else will go inside of Africa, invest money there, that he could have a stable business and bring that. Yeah, and we have a real good understanding for the market, and we will be heard in the market. If we say, okay, Tanzania is a quite good area where you could invest money. Yeah, and we guarantee that the right partners are there to have your success and to bring the money here and to keep the investment. For my opinion, this is a quite good card on the table.
All right, good. Alex,
Well,
I'm hungry.
I
What do you bring on the table?
I mentioned cybersecurity a few times, and I will mention that again because like margin is good, but a big fraud case can eat all that margin, right?
Protection.
Yes, and I think that Lang can help here big time because we have various solutions, both for inbound and outbound control, fighting the frauds, and it's easily integrated so that then we do it on a single link level. It's capex free, and I just can mention that big MNOs, big groups are using our solutions, and they definitely have their own, right? So it's not we are able of doing that standalone, but we do it easier. It's easily integrated without tenders. Just like one of the examples is that we provide the anti-fraud for free for all the volumes that we receive, for example. That's one of the models we do. So we're flexible here. And adding to the ICT regulators, I would say that a lot of things can be implemented and changed and improved. Like, again, cybersecurity, that can be done on the government level as well. That can be, like, ICT regulators can influence MNOs with one way or another to like set certain solutions, right? Then I mentioned like the initiatives in ECOWAS and SADC, for example. It's also something that can be done that has huge potential. And like liberalization of the market, maybe with MVNOs coming to some countries. Like I know that, for example, in Nigeria, now MVNOs are coming. So it's about flexibility, about being open to new changes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Chandra, I know you already opened up your wallet for many times in Africa and working together with a lot of operators and doing some fantastic strategic partnerships as well. I know, but it's not enough what you do. What can Bankai Group bring to the table? Because we are still hungry.
Yes. You know, apart from our flagship products, when it comes to digital financial solution, mobile wallet, core banking solution, personal banking, or all that we already doing from last 10 years. What I feel is somewhere like Asia and Africa has missed industry 1, industry 2, industry 3 waves or all that. So what we can bring from our experience to Africa is industry 4.0 experiences. So it would be like covering all the new age technologies directly from IoT to ERP to smart city to smart everything digitization that is happening in India, that is happening in any part of the world. Those experiences we can bring to Africa
and accelerate.
Yes, and we can accelerate that as well. Because if you see traditionally in last 20 years, we see lots of energy when you meet anybody from Africa. Like I meet anybody from Africa in London, he's very curious to know. What I feel, it's only technology, and it's technology at the right time that can enable Africa to match with the pace at what world is moving forward. So as per us, apart from our flagship product, be it on telecom side, revenue assurance, fraud management, on mobile wallet, mobile financial side, we have our mobile wallet. We are kind of also bringing up ourselves to be ready to impart the industry 4 solutions to Africa, be it on AI side, machine learning side, be it on IoT side, be it on smart city, smart traffic, smart government, mobile health, everything. We are ready for that. Yeah. It's a long haul.
Thank you. Now the big question is, listening to what these people are bringing on the table, will we be satisfied? Is that enough? And what do you think, Kanamana? Do we need more? Anything? Please give me your views.
All right. So first, let me start by
Join in. If you have something to say, then if we're missing
Speak up.
something, come on, guys, let me know.
Yes. So let me start by saying what Tigo is bringing on a very high level, because we're doing a lot, but what Tigo is bringing in. We've spoken a lot about 5G. He's spoken about IoT and the importance to really transform Africa and to introduce smart cities and such very specific products. this is something as Tigo we are already working on. We are investing so much on technology right now, on our network. We're actually investing over 300 million on our network, just dollars, just in the next year and a half, to really make sure when we talk about financial inclusion, when we talk about data penetration right now, for us, speak specifically for Tanzania, is only, I would say, 28%, you know. So if we don't invest on 4G and 5G, if we don't get 5G to the rural areas, if we don't educate people and teach them how to use 5G and the importance of using 5G, then we will leave some people behind. So one of Tigo's biggest initiative is to make sure that we can reach everyone. We provide, you know, you go back to the basics, provide very affordable smartphones that people can use, and then teach them how they can use them for their own personal life, to enhance their own personal life, but then also how they can use for their small businesses to enhance efficiencies within their small businesses. This is an initiative that we are proudly driving. So we're investing heavily on technology. We're investing on our network. We're investing heavily on educating, especially the mass, the people who maybe don't have access, to help them understand, and then to also provide these services so that it can really transform and simplify the way they work, the way they live, even the way they learn. COVID taught us with the importance of e-learning. So we're even on the financial, in the fintech area, with MFS, with mobile money, we're investing a lot there, because we spoke about the unbanked community. We're investing a lot on the unbanked community because it's still over 90% for us. So we're investing a lot. We are providing very small loans, very easy loans that you can get on phones, for example, as an example, to individuals, to small businesses. So these are some of the areas where what Tigo is doing to make sure we can help Tanzanians and the economy at large, is to really get to that mass, that person who doesn't have access, maybe currently to technology, doesn't have access to financial inclusion, to mobile money, so they're excluded. Security, health, e-learning, is to make sure that we invest in technology, we invest in financial services, different products, and we have so many that we get to that individual. And in terms of whether or not we are doing enough, I think we can all do more. I'm going to you.
That's what we wanted to hear, right?
You're an easy target. You're an easy target. But I think we can do more in terms of investing for Africa. I think people such as yourself, we could do more in terms of looking for projects that are very practical for Africa. And there's so many out there. I don't want to digress, but there's so many out there. But I think, Chandaras, you need to have a very big focus on Africa, and to take bigger risk. I mean, the future, there is so much potential. It's not just about money, right? There is so much potential in transforming lives for Africa that I think, and so many different areas that I think, with a key focus, that if you bring in the investment that is required, we can really start transforming people's, we can really continue, because we're already doing that, right? We can really continue transforming people's lives in Africa, in Tanzania, and in Africa as a whole.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from the audience, right?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment as the discussion goes. So I think we are mostly talking as if we are mourning for Africa. But I think Africa has been leading in a lot of technological areas, especially starting from mobile money. For the last 15 or so years, Africa has been pioneer on this market, and it shows that we can use technology to leapfrog a lot of developments in between. It started from, you know, the agrarian revolution, and then in Europe, I mean, then it moved. So it's been evolutionary. But for us in Africa, technology has been revolutionary. So we have used technology to sort of jump over the hopes and transform our people's lives. So in terms of 5G, and I think we grapple with a lot of technological challenges as well. And to my friend from Bankai says that you know, you can can compare Africa to India, which of course I agree with, because we can be able to learn a lot from what India has done. But you got to remember that India is a single country and Africa are 54 countries that have different cultures and different ecosystems around. So we can be able to, the critical point I'm trying to make is we can be able to use technology, things like 5G now, instead of investing on, fiber, which we are struggling with, the vastness of Africa and the geopolitical situation of Africa, then we can be able to use some of these new technologies, 5G, IoT, to leapfrog some of the basic infrastructural investment that needs to be done to enable digital transformation in Africa. Thank you very much.
Okay, there we go. You see, now you're waking up, right, guys? Please.
Yeah. My name is Michael. I'm with China Mobile International. A lot has been said about 5G, and I just thought to mention that what we could bring to the table as China Mobile International is that we could bring experience and knowledge in 5G rollout. China Mobile International has about 750,000 5G base stations back in HQ, so we can bring and share in that expertise to make it favorable for everyone. But the second thing is that on fintech, something has been touched on fintech, and the man from Bankai has mentioned that when we started the conversation, we said that a lot of the fintech adoption has happened in Africa, but then at the same time, we're saying that investment in infrastructure is not happening in Africa. So it's like one side of the divide is not talking to the other side of the divide. If we have this big amount of population already trading on the fintech platform, on the digital platform, why can't we use that data to underwrite that investment and leverage on the ability to underwrite that investment to leapfrog or to accelerate investment in infrastructure on 3G, 4G, etc. G. And then lastly, the comment is that you asked if, I think one of the panelists mentioned that governments have to come into play. We know now that there's a protocol within the government of Africa to have a continental free trade area where the borders and barriers of trade are being removed. Back in the country of where I'm based at, the telecoms regulator is actively, I'm based out of Nairobi in Kenya, and our sector regulator is actively involved in that conversation, so that apart from trade of goods and services, technology and expertise is also involved in that conversation, and we can have barriers of trade on the technology and telecoms sector also removed, so that we can export and import this sector to the continent as well. So I encourage actors, stakeholders, regulators, and players in other continents, in other countries within Africa, to also follow suit and jump onto this protocol that is being enabled as we speak today to make Africa as almost one trading bloc for all of us. That's a comment.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your comments and for your some remarks, actually, which I heard. If nobody wants to, let's say, comment on that one, but thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, everything comes to an end, right? So is this panel discussion. You see, time flies, especially in this. I just want to go outside because it's beautiful outside. I'll be honest with you. So, closing statements. Eva, can I start with you? May I ask you what should we look out for? Any thoughts?
I think so much is mentioned here, but I think what we can bring out of this conversation, out of the panelists and the comments, is that Africa is the place to be. Africa is the place that we're going to see amazing developments. Leapfrogging, we've seen it before. I've mentioned it, but I'm really excited about what's to come, and being today in the panel. There's still a lot to do from the partnership side, from the mobile operators, from the technology companies, from the governments. But I think we have a chance if everyone works together and aiming at the higher goal of connecting people and bringing value to the continent. Thank you
so much. Well said. Chandler.
Left or right?
Chandler, on your left.
adding to Eva comment, like when it comes to, when you talk about fundamentals to be a true digital economy, Africa is right there. People are already using mobile money solution from last 15 years. There is adaptability, and they have young population. And the best part is general African population is very good with technology. They want to, they love technology in that way. So what I feel is with the right balance of investment and government initiatives, in next 5 7 years we can say see a truly digital African economy, at least in some part of Africa, like in Tanzania, Kenya, or some country like Nigeria, Togo. I'm seeing going very well. Then North African, like Egypt, just opened their digital economy. Algeria is coming big way. So that way, what I feel is Africa is opening up. Governments are looking forward, and their fundamentals are really strong. That's what I can say. And they have a very robust, population that is eager to be the part of this churning out that we are seeing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. No, no. We go to Alex.
It was a great comment regarding the free trade area. I think that's the initiative by the African Union, right? So that's also like a case that how the governments and the IC regulators, the intergovernment, can help. So yeah, the opportunities are definitely there, and let's fight all the challenges together. Like as the African proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So
Hakuna Matata.
Long is the company to go together, at least for the fraud protection, for the cybersecurity. We are definitely there. We'll be happy to bring more opportunities to the continent.
Thank you so much, Bernd.
Yeah, so also thank you for the comments. It was fantastic. Yeah, it's also completely my opinion. For me, the partnerships are the key to success. Yeah, so I hope we could partner. Yeah, also with you, and only perhaps a real small drop on the stone. Yeah, so if anybody from you is interested in learning a little bit more about the European markets, about SD-WAN and everything what we are doing there, I would be able to have the offer for anywhere between 10 and 20 people, which we could educate. Your decision if remotely or if we arrange it to do that also in Germany. It's not so much, but perhaps it could be a first sign from a smaller company for the bigger ones to also go there. Yeah, and if we do it together, perhaps we could have our multiplicators. Yeah, and we will be able to support that even in the mine setting in the German market, also to the governments and to all this industry, to this industry people, yeah, where the bigger Germans are also in. Yeah, we could be your entrance there. Let us partner, let's go there. And even if you need anywhere the support or the education, yeah, so the offer is there. Take it if you want.
Okay, that's an invitation, right? Huh? Okay. And absolutely. And last but not least, but Karambara, please, your final statement.
All right, thank you.
What's your takeaway?
My takeaway, I think, is it's just the theme that has been reiterated across throughout this conversation across, I mean, all of us. It's been an honor to be here. But the importance of, there are a lot of opportunities in Africa. I mean, I think we can sit here and talk about that for days, literally. There's a lot of opportunities in Tanzania, but there are a lot of opportunities in Africa. There is a very urgent need to have a lot more focus on investment for Africa. You know, companies such as yourself, there's so much that we can do for Africa. So this is what for me, not just a takeaway, but a key ask, is that we focus on investing in Africa. There's so many different areas that we can, and we all come from different sectors. But I think together, if I said this before, if we come together and think of what else we can do for Africa, let's do that. And that's what I'm really calling for. And that's the biggest takeaway from this panel.
I couldn't close it more beautiful than you just did. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.
And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you. Thank you for joining. I hope you found it interesting. Stay tuned because we have far more content to come after lunch, first lunch, and then after lunch, we're gonna talk about the data centers, and tomorrow we have a session as well. I would like to thank dearly my panelists. So thank you very much for being here. I mean, it was not so difficult to come to Zanzibar, right, guys? Yeah. So thank you very much. It has been more than a pleasure and an honor having you and these senior subject matter experts here around the table. If you have a question for them, they're here. They're just here at the GCCM. So talk to them, ask them, whatever, mingle and enjoy everything. So and with this, I want to thank also the audience out there. Thank you for joining us, and hope to see you soon out there. But for this lot and the other people out there, we're gonna meet after lunch again around 3 o'clock. Talk about data centers, about submarine cables, whatever have you. And thank you so much. Stay cool, stay easy, enjoy the sun, and thank you so much.